Good afternoon. I would like to call the March 3rd policy session of the Phoenix City Council to order. Welcome and thank you for joining us. We have a robust agenda today. We will hear an update on the census, our budget, and then our main event for action today will be an international strategy update, and we are honored to have so many distinguished guests who are joining us today. We will first turn to council members for council information and follow-up requests. Do any council members have? All right. Then we will move. City Manager, do you have any updates for us?
Mayor, not today. Thank you.
Wonderful. Then would you please, it's an important time for our city, would you please introduce the census item?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I'm very pleased to have our census team here. It comes from our government relations office, which is led by Frank McCune, but our census coordinator is Albert Santana, and assisting him and doing a huge amount of work herself is Leila Gamis. And I'll turn it over to Albert to walk us through this important information. We are less than 30 days from Census Day. It's hard to believe, but it's on top of us. And Albert and Leila have been doing a huge amount of work with each of you. And so, Albert, I'll turn it to you.
Thank you, Ed. Mayor, members of the council, as stated, the census is literally right around the corner, about less than 10 days away before the questionnaire goes live. And so this has been about an 18-month journey of us preparing, working with you all. And I would like to give special recognition, of course, to Councilmember Williams, Garcia, and Stark. Thank you so much for your assistance and guidance on our census ad hoc committee. That has been really instrumental for us, as well as the work that's been done with our community partners. So with that, I'll kind of jump right in. Again, why do we conduct a census? So as a part of the constitutional mandate, a head count every 10 years of everyone residing in the nation. And as a part of that, some results that are determined by it are the U.S. congressional representation, as well as hundreds of billions of dollars in federal resources that are allocated throughout the entire country. So from an annual perspective on the local level, what does this mean to our state as well as to our city? Again, on an annual basis for the state of Arizona, an accurate census count represents $20 billion, and it represents over 55 federal programs that are allocated out throughout the state. And then for us at the local level as the City of Phoenix, it represents an impact of $866 million on an annual basis for many programs that mean so much to our community, everything from transportation, our Head Start programs, after-school programs, libraries, public safety, etc. So this here is an example of what to expect. So beginning next week, as we stated, an invitational letter will go out from the Census Bureau to every household throughout the country. Here in the presentation is an image of what that letter will look like. It will have information as to the importance of the census, as well as instructions on how households can respond. From the week of March 9th all the way through the end of April, there will be 5 reminders. Those reminders will come in the form of either a letter, as you see on the screen, as well as in a postcard. After April, that will begin the Census Bureau's process called non-response follow-up, and really what that is their door-knocking operation. So some things for the public and for Mayor and Council to know is the ways to respond. We've talked about this before in previous council meetings, but there are some unique things for the 2020 census. First, the new ways of responding, which is digital or by phone. For the first time in the Census Bureau's history, households and individuals will be able to respond both in a digital format as well as by phone. Those will be available in English as well as 12 languages. For those individuals that still want to respond in the traditional way via paper format, and that is still available, and we want to make sure that the community is well aware of that. If individuals do prefer responding by the paper form, that is available, and those will be mailed out after April 8th. So as far as from the local perspective, we've been working hard with our regional partners at Maricopa Association of Governments, as well as other cities and community members, and really making sure that we're driving people to our website, which is going to be a way for them to be able to respond once the form goes live next week. We also do have our direct email campaign, and through our email campaign, we'll also be able to encourage and drive people to the website so that they'll be able to learn more as well as respond. We did also implement a text messaging campaign, and so individuals can respond either through our iCount, or we also have that available in Spanish, which is through our Yo Cuento. So we, again, are trying to build multiple ways and multiple layers to maximize awareness, as well as the most accessibility for people to be able to respond. The other thing that we're very proud of, and through the work at the partnership with the federal government, local, as well as regional, is a very comprehensive, aggressive media buy to make sure that we have overall awareness. As you see, we've got well over 2,000 TV spots that will run as a part of our campaign, a little under 5,000 radio spots, millions of digital impressions, which really is reflective of an aggressive social and digital campaign. We will have 20 billboards that will be throughout the greater Phoenix area, as well as print ads in a very diverse group of different printing options. And then posters that we'll be having at all of our city facilities, at different businesses, recreation centers, Head Start. So we're really trying to make sure that we have, again, multiple layers of creating awareness. So the next slide is really going to allow you a preview to a commercial that we produced. And some things that I would like to highlight before we play them is that all of the individuals in these commercials are local from the Phoenix area. They come from very diverse backgrounds, and all of them were produced here in the local Phoenix area. Our City of Phoenix Complete Count Committee thought it was very important that we have local talent, and that people, when they see these commercials, they see Phoenicians as a part of it. So we wanted to make sure that we went that extra effort and went ahead and did that. And so we're very proud of these, and so I'll quickly show you a few of them on the screen.
I'm a single mom working full-time, and I count for education.
I'm a retired professor, grandfather, and I count for the arts.
I'm a theater student. I count for transportation options.
I started my own company, and I count for small business.
When you participate in the census, you help support important programs and resources that benefit everyone. Count for our community. Complete the census today. Learn how at icount2020.info.
And the next one here is a 15-second version that will be for TV, as well as supporting our social campaign.
I'm a music student, and I count for the arts.
I mentor Native American youth, and I count for my community.
I'm a single mom, and I count for education.
Count for our community. Complete the census today. Learn how at icount2020.info.
And the final example we have for you is a example from our radio on the Spanish side.
¿Qué sucede cuando completa el censo 2020? Cuenta para las escuelas, los servicios de salud, el transporte público y para su comunidad. Porque por cada persona contada en el censo, su comunidad recibe fondos federales para recursos importantes. Puede participar de 3 maneras: en línea, por teléfono o por correo. Busca instrucciones de la oficina del censo en su buzón a partir de marzo. Luego, elija cómo va a contar para su comunidad. Para más información, visite icount2020.info.
So everything that we've done on TV and radio is done in English as well as in Spanish, so we want to make sure that you all knew that as well. And the next couple of quick examples is just some things that are from our social and digital. So these are screenshots both from our Facebook as well as our Instagram page that is creating awareness and, again, getting people ready for the forum to go live next week. Here is a couple of examples of billboards that you'll start to see throughout the Phoenix area, again, keeping everything in a bilingual format with our local talent. One was shot here from a student in ASU's downtown campus, and the 3 kids there, that was something that was shot over at the Encanto Park right outside of the Enchanted Island. These here are some examples of posters that we will have throughout all of our city recreation centers, our 17 libraries, 63 Head Start programs, as well as on the right is an example of some school posters that we are distributing and working with our Youth and Education Office, as well as with the Census Bureau's Education Partnership Specialist. So while we feel very confident and very happy with our media plan and the different layers that we've produced, at the beginning of this, Mayor and Council made it adamant that we also make sure we have a very comprehensive grassroots efforts. And so here to talk to you all about the grassroots efforts is our Census Coordinator, Adelaida Gamis.
Thank you, Albert. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Building on Albert's presentation, one of the campaigns that we noticed we needed to also ensure that the city supported was a secondary campaign to the I Count 2020 effort, which is the My First Census campaign. In 2010, there were over 55,000 children in Arizona that were not counted correctly in the census, and that's a huge loss and definitely a huge planning loss for us as a city. So to ensure that that doesn't happen, we created the secondary campaign of My First Census. Through the campaign, we have had already 2 events. We're looking to hold a 3rd one at the end of March. We've engaged with over 400 children already. And we've been also highlighted as a national best practice by the American Library Association, noting how we are integrating families and libraries and the importance of counting. We also have had national news coverage. We've had over 26,000 views online for the coverage that we received regarding the My First Census campaign. And we're looking to strengthen this campaign by working with 4 local social influencers. We're looking to reach about 620,000 followers through those social influencers. And we hope to make this a bigger campaign, celebrating that effort of children, and it's their first time that they're being counted, especially children under 10. Another effort that I would be remiss if I did not mention would be the interdepartmental support that we have received in this effort. You know, Albert and I, we joke, and it's not an Albert census or a Layla census, it's really a national census, it's a Phoenix census, and that has not fallen short with all the departments stepping up to support our every effort in every way they could. We have worked early on with the Neighborhood Services Department in identifying over 437 neighborhood associations and organizations that we can tap into to be our boots on the ground. We've also worked with the Public Transit Department in identifying locations for bus shelter posters so that we can get those folks on the resource that are using that benefit to ensure they complete the census. We've worked with our Water Services Department, including a blurb every month in the Water Services bill. We've worked with our Public Information Office, ensuring that we've included a column in our Phoenix Pays newsletter. And our most recent, while not interdepartmental per se, but definitely a regional effort, is working with Valley Metro. We were able to secure Valley Metro's support in wrapping a light rail train. One side's going to be English, the other side's going to be Spanish. And again, just supporting the information that it's important to complete the census. To build on that, we brought early on to you the vehicles that we were so successful to achieve early on. In that, we've been out to over 25 events, and we continue to grow every weekend. There's not a shortage of event requests for us to bring out our vans. We've engaged approximately over 300,000 folks in the different opportunities that we've had, and as I stated, these continue to grow. To highlight a few of our big upcoming events for you, we have a Central City South event, a Community Connections Fair. We have Melrose on 7th Avenue. We're also looking to work with Univision on hosting a town hall event with Univision, where Univision is going to invite people to come to their center to complete the census if they need to. We're looking at being in a Phoenix Pride, Slope Fest, and I Recycle Phoenix, and many more. This is just a small sample of the many events that we have lined up. One of the efforts that was super important for our Complete Count Committee was the integration of a grant for communities, grassroots organizations, to get some type of assistance in helping us do outreach. So the Complete Count Committee and the Business and Finance group of that committee is working to fundraise efforts for us, and it's to support these community grassroots organizations in outreach. We are looking to grant up to $5,000 to each of these community organizations. They're completing an application online, submitting it to us. We'll review and grant that amount. Our timing is between March and June of this year. And we we're very excited to announce that we were able to secure a partnership with the Phoenix IDA and the Arizona Community Foundation. The Phoenix IDA will serve will help us in matching funds. So if our committee raises up to $100,000, the IDA will match up to $100,000. So we have the potential of $200,000 that we're able to disperse within the grassroots community. And Arizona Community Foundation will be the nonprofit partner who will offer that tax write-off to agencies and organizations. As this effort evolves, we're happy to come back and report to you organizations that have assisted us with this outreach. And one of the efforts that is super important in ensuring that these grassroots communities get the information is doing canvassing efforts. As elected officials, you all know that you go door to door when it's election time. And this is, while not an election-related effort, it's definitely a civic engagement effort. And so it requires us to make sure we engage with the community. So ensuring that we have this canvassing effort, we're looking to do up to 8 events between March 12th and May 12th. And these events will be held at least one in each district and will allow us to work with you to identify areas where you would like us to go and outreach, and you're welcome to join us in these door-knocking events. We will have people with these T-shirts on, and they'll be handing out and dropping off the door hangers that you see there, just giving, again, reinforcing that information. So with that, I will return it to Albert.
Really, that concludes our presentation, Mayor and City Council. But as a general statement, again, just want to thank you for your leadership and your support. Several of you we've asked to help us do some interviews on weekends and during the weekdays, so thank you so much for supporting us and helping to get those messages out. The overall idea was to make sure that we had complete coverage in our city, and obviously having a focus on areas that have been traditionally undercounted, and trying to make sure we had multiple ways in connecting with those communities. So with that, we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for your hard work and convening city departments. It's been an honor for our city to get recognition, whether from libraries or one of the leading public-private partnership, really first of its kind in the nation. It has been fabulous seeing you out at community events and really engaging. I also appreciate you highlighting our kids. I think we have the cutest kids in Phoenix, and the My First Census campaign is helping us show off that great asset, while reminding our community of the very serious point that taking the time to do a census will invest in the future of those young people. We have also had strong partners from other cities, the Maricopa Association of Government, connecting our two of our items on today's agenda. I want to thank the consular caller, but particular Consul Mendoza-Yescas for convening with us and partnering to turn out and to talk about the importance of the census with everyone in our community. So thank you for that partnership. Many trusted voices have come together to tell our community members that it is important to participate in the census. Our media community have also been great partners. We do have one card from Lori Berg-Sapp of Maricopa Association of Government. If you would like to, you have 2 minutes to provide us with comments, and thank you for your partnership.
Thank you, Mayor Gallego and members of the Phoenix City Council. My name is Lori Berg-Sapp, and I am point on the 2020 census outreach effort for the Maricopa Association of Governments. I would like to commend the City of Phoenix for their tremendous support of MAG's regional campaign, as well as many of the local efforts noted here today. The city has truly led the way on a number of regional initiatives and shared their ideas, strategies, and collateral assets to the benefit of all. Your outreach is effective across the valley and the region, as so many people come to Phoenix to work and to play. The collaboration between MAG and the City of Phoenix has been outstanding, and we are grateful. I'd like to recognize Census Director Albert Santana and Census Coordinator Leila Gamiz, who have been instrumental in the success of these campaigns as we work side by side to ensure everyone in the region is counted. Many, many thanks for your support, and thanks for your time.
Thank you for your partnership. Councilwoman Stark.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to serve on the committee, but I do have a question. My staff was at a meeting, a West Sunny Slope Block Watch meeting, and some of the residents in West Sunny Slope have already gotten something from the census, but that's not actually the true census we do every 10 years. Could you maybe briefly talk about the monthly? Thank you.
Yeah, Mayor Gallego, Councilmember Stark. So what the Census Bureau actually does survey work on an annual basis, and what that is called is the American Community Survey. It's a much longer survey and has many more questions. So that's the one that people would have gotten, and actually I can use myself as an example. I happened to get one in December. But it is absolutely critical that people do still fill out the one that's the decennial, which is a much shorter version, only has 9 questions, and that will go out next week on March 12th. So yes, again, on an annual basis, they collect data from a sample serving throughout the entire country, but the decennial is the one that we need them to absolutely respond to beginning March 12th.
Councilmember Garcia.
Thank you all for the work. It's been great to see you out in community events. Our kids got to jump in the vans and play around in there. That was great. I still particularly have some concern around undocumented population. I know the question of status is no longer on the census. I'm just wondering if you've ran into that. And I also saw an example from the city of Pasadena who basically passed a resolution to make sure that confidentiality was protected. And I'm just wondering, anything else you may need, and also to my colleagues up here, is if that's something that we can get done, or to staff. But yeah, any other roadblocks that you're running into, or any other ways in which we could support, would be good to hear.
Mayor, Councilmember Garcia, as you stated, we do want to make sure people know that the question that about citizenship is no longer a part and will not be a part of the decennial. So we've had to continually repeat that message and make sure people know. As far as some of the work that we did, especially with our focus groups, with DACA students, as well as with the undocumented community, the feedback that we got directly from those individuals that participated, as well as the different events and community meetings we had, was really making sure that all of our community understood the connection between participating in the census and the impact that it has for resources and programs for families, but especially for children, the nutrition of children, as well as schools. So we've really made sure that all of our messaging supports that information that helps to support the family. In regards to any type of a resolution, et cetera, that wasn't something that we brought up as a part of out of our campaign. We really just worked closely with the undocumented community, DACA students. And then the final piece that I would say is that we did have the benefit of being able to work with a lot of community organizations that work in that space very often. Specifically, One Arizona had a really aggressive and a great resource of coalitions of about 20 different community-based organizations. So we were with them every month for the last year and continue to let them know that however we as a city can support them. So we've been invited to go out to their events with our vehicles, with our information, and then also being able to give them the resources, because on many of the occasions, they need to be the trusted voices, specifically when it came to confidentiality. So we've always put that on our collateral. So that's kind of the comprehensive approach that we've tried to do, but any ideas and anything else that we can do, because we want to keep pushing hard as we are now getting into the form going live.
Councilman Nowakowski.
Thank you, Mayor. Albert, Layla, thank you for everything you're doing out there, working with the spiritual community, the religious, the pastors, and spreading that message and having hope out there that we're going to actually work with people. You know, one of the things that I've been hearing from individuals that they're afraid of the census. And the other thing is that they don't really know what the census is all about. And going on these talk shows and going out to the community, and individuals are surprised that each person's worth $533, and about how the schools and future streets and all that is really allocated by the census. So, you know, those are really important points, and just keep that up. I agree with Councilman Garcia that we should come up with something from the council, making sure that people feel safe and that they're not afraid to fill it up because of their natural status here in the United States.
Thank you. Thank you to our council members for your leadership on this issue. Thank you to then Mayor Williams for creating our complete count committee, and thank you for our staff for your work and this excellent presentation. We next move to our 5-year general fund forecast. We are excited to welcome Jeff Barton to the podium, and I want to be among many to congratulate you. The city manager just announced this week that Jeff Barton will be promoted to deputy city manager. So,
Thank you.
and I will turn it to the city manager to further introduce this item.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. So you noted that there is a direct line between the previous item on the census and our city budget, and that is important for us when it comes to just basic revenue we get from the federal government for community development block grants, low-income heating, as Councilman Nowakowski noted, street transportation funding. So all those things are supported by a complete count census. So thank you for making that connection. And we're here today on our cycle. This is the first step in the 2020-2021 budget cycle. And just to refresh memories, the budget adoption process is now underway. And so today's is our first piece of that, a 5-year forecast and general fund status. In 2 weeks, we'll bring forward a trial budget, which is a conversation starter with the council and with the community. Well, after that, from April 2nd through 22nd, we have 19 community budget hearings with each one of you in your districts to solicit community input. Mr. Barton, I'll tell you a little more, but we also have an online tool to take that feedback as well if people can't be there in person. We then will have 2 council meetings in May where there's an opportunity to hammer out more details on the budget, May 5th, and then the first vote of the council is on May 19th. Then we get into the state's formally required adoption process, where it feels like every meeting we have another budget vote on June 3rd and June 17th. At the same time, our capital improvement budget is moving forward as well. And then we finish on July the 1st with a property tax levy adoption. So as you can see from this chart, today is the first step of several as we set out on this. It's a better budget picture to give than it was in the last 10 years. So 10 years ago, or it's been 10 years since the major recession affected our budget, and it's hard to believe that it's been that long, but in the 2010-2011 budget cycle, we had to deal with a $200+ million budget deficit. And then in 2014, we suffered a second downturn where we had to reduce another $60 million. Employees took pay reductions in 2 separate contracts. You had to reduce service levels and freeze hiring in police and fire. And during that time, pension costs continued to climb as more realistic cost estimates were built into our system. And we also had to build in more realistic revenue forecasts. But the council continued to focus on expenses, made difficult decisions about hiring and employment, diversified our economic base from a real estate-oriented economy to one that is about education, medicine, manufacturing, and tourism. And we worked from better revenue models to be able to predict that. And that's where we come in today. We continued to pay all of our bills during that time. We met all of our pension obligations. And by 2019-2020, we achieved a structural balance and were able to recognize our employees when you adopted the first true pay increase in 10 years for our city employees in their contracts last year. So I just want to thank the council for that 10 years of really, really difficult work and effort. I want to thank our city employees for the sacrifices they made, and mostly to thank the public for continuing to participate and believe in the services we give to them. But again, this year now we are a structurally balanced budget. That means that the revenue we have coming in meets our obligations now and into the future. But we do, as I noted here, need to carefully monitor those expenditures and be conscientious about how we add to our expenses. We continue to meet the demands of increased pension payments, and we do have to mention this every time, particularly on our police and fire pension system. The increase in that demand has been significant. We've had to make a lot of adjustments to be able to meet that, but we have done that to live up to those obligations to our first responders and to our city employees. In this budget, you'll see we will have the ability to invest resources in some fundamental infrastructure of our organization, administrative as well as technical, vehicles, fleet, technology, air service, air fleet for our public safety. Those things are not very exciting at all, but are really fundamental to what it is that we're able to do to provide service. And we'll also, I think, have resources to invest in restoring and adding some services that the community has told us, told you, you have told me, that are important to us. And so today is the first step in identifying what those level of resources are so that in a couple weeks we can talk about what that might be. And then finally, we've looked into the data, and Jeff will show you that, how he's been working and focusing on how to be carefully attentive to the idea that the economic expansion will not continue forever, and when that slowdown comes, what could that mean, and how do we need to prepare for that eventuality. So with that, I'm going to turn the presentation over to our current Budget and Research Director, and as Mayor noted, our future Deputy City Manager, Jeff Barton, who will address these issues in more depth.
Mayor, members of the council, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. So again, this is our 5-year forecast. This is really a tool for you to make very sound decisions. And this is the 9th consecutive year in which we've presented this 5-year forecast to you. Today's agenda, we'll talk to you about the forecast itself, the purpose of it, the overview. We'll also discuss our revenue assumptions as well as our expenditure assumptions. And then we'll put the whole thing together for you so you can see what it looks like. And we'll also get into that stress test that we're presenting now for the 2nd year in a row, just so we can all be conscious of what's surrounding us right now. So again, the 5-year forecast, as you know, is a financial best practice. It's recognized in the industry by everyone from the GFOA to the ICMA. Our process is extremely sought after. Folks consider us a best practice. We've received the GFOA Distinguished Budget Award for over 25 consecutive years. So that's a feather in a cap to you, to the work that you do with our constituents out in the community, as well as going to those budget hearings. So I want to thank you for that. We also use this tool to provide the framework for adopting a balanced budget. Unlike our friends in DC that don't have to have a balanced budget and can deficit spend, we don't have that luxury. So we have to adopt a balanced budget by both state statute and city charter, and this forecasting tool gives us the base work or the framework to do that. Third is this, it helps us decide where we're going to spend our money and make sound decisions, as I mentioned earlier. So if we see a recession coming or we see a softening in the economy, this tool allows us to not overcommit, and that's really a good piece of this tool. And finally, Councilman Waring, I'll give you kudos for this, as I always do, because a few years back, we were outside of the norm as our peers as it pertains to our revenue forecasting. So we continue to work with the University of Arizona. We developed our own internal econometric model that we use, and that thing has produced amazing results. For the past 4 years in a row, our revenue projections have been less than 1% off on over $1 billion worth of revenue. So I think that is a testament. Thank you for encouraging us to go that far. And finally, the 5-year forecast itself, the formula is very simple. The recipe is simple. It's our revenues less our expenditures tell us whether or not we have a surplus or a deficit. Our resources, that's our taxes, so that's local sales tax, our fees, as well as state shared revenues. It also includes our fees and charges. It includes interest earnings that we have from funds that are held in accounts. It also includes our transfers and recoveries. So our transfers would be the money coming into the general fund from our enterprise funds for consuming general fund services. The recoveries would be liquidation of contracts that have kind of completed, and we bring those funds back. And then it also includes our fund balance. On the expenditure side, it's largely based on our employee costs, and that does include the pension cost that the city manager just mentioned to you. It also includes our services, the services that our residents have come to depend on, that our employees take such great pride in providing to our residents. It also includes our capital equipment and our repair to maintain that equipment, as well as our contingency fund, which again, this council has made an active and conscious choice to grow that contingency and to keep it at 4%. And we will be adding $4 million a year to the contingency fund over this forecast window. So finally, when you add all that up, you either have more revenue than you need to provide the services, which means you have a surplus, which is where we find ourselves today, or you find yourselves in the opposite position where you have a deficit. We're not even going to talk about that because that's not where we're at today, and we do have a structurally sound budget. So I want to take a few moments to walk you through our revenue assumptions. So first and foremost, this forecast does not include or predict any future fee increases or decreases in our revenue, nor does it include any new sources of revenue. It also does not, we are also using this based on our econometric model, so we are definitely in line with our peers, using that information that we get out of the model, as well as participating with the U of A in our state forecasting project. No recession is reflected in the body of the model itself. We did that outside the model because that would actually be against best practice, because I don't know when the recession would start, which areas it would hit, and how long it would last. So it would really not be a good, sound method to include that in the baseline forecast. We also continue to maximize primary property tax, meaning that we are adhering to both state statute and the PTOC levy limits. So we will not be raising the property tax in this forecast. However, the levy, the amount that we collect, will actually increase because the property values will increase. So you'll see that on the next slide. We also assume no negative impact to state shared revenues based on actions by the state as they're in session to kind of talk about a variety of bills. If that happens, that would change our forecast. So again, I just want to walk you through a couple of things. So our local sales and excise taxes, we're estimating those to be at this point based on 5 months worth of collections at about $533 million. That's about a 4.2% growth rate. We're also estimating state shared revenue at about $496 million. That's about a 7.8%. Now I want to pause here. This is based on 5 months worth of actuals. We do have 6 months in that my staff is just now looking at. Those numbers would give me indication to believe that before the manager's budget is actually presented in May, we may want to tweak our revenue up. But again, I'm going to be very cautious about how far I tweak it up, given the coronavirus and the election and all kinds of other things that could drag that number down. Because I don't want to find ourselves committed to a revenue number and providing services, and then immediately July 1 we're making cuts. So I do not want to do that. We also, property tax, we're estimating about $180 million. That's about 5.3%. Again, I'll emphasize the rate stays the same. This is really a function of property values increasing. We also are estimating about $141 million in user fees and other fees that come into the city. Largely, these are driven by things like AMBO billing. So our paramedics that provide that service, they recover about $36 million a year there. Also included here would be fines and forfeitures in the courts. And our beginning fund balance is estimated at about $103 million, and then our transfers at about $13 million. So in total, we're estimating resources for next year at about $1.466 billion in the general fund. That's overall about a 2.9% increase in resources. On expenditures, again, our operating expenditure growth rates are based on our historical spending patterns, as well as CPI. We are basing our pension costs off of the most recent actuarial study. And you do recall, we asked the state to give us the latitude to pay at 30 years. However, this council said they wanted to pay at 25. So that's what we're modeling here. And the compensation cost, as the city manager alluded to in his opening remarks, are the existing labor contract. That contract expires at the end of next fiscal year. However, we did not assume any pay increases beyond that. So we are perpetuating the existing labor contract throughout the duration of this forecast. And finally, maintaining the contingency fund at 4%. That requires about $4 million a year. So when we put it all together, this is what we look like. So in the projected year, our base year, next year, 2021, our resources are 1.466, our expenses are 1.438. That leaves us that $28 million surplus. Again, that number could change by the time we get to the manager's budget in May, and I will keep you abreast of that through every presentation that I do between now and then. When we look ahead to the following year, 21-22, we have an $18 million shortfall to a positive $8 million range. Our baseline there is about a negative $5 million. Again, to me, that's close enough to call it a balanced budget, plus I have 2 years to correct that action. And if I increase revenues between now and May, that'll correct itself anyway. So again, let's not get too concentrated or focused on that negative number there. And then the other 3 years, I'm not going to go through each of them. You'll see that the baseline or the midpoint of each of those years is a balanced budget. Again, referencing the city manager's mention of a structurally balanced budget, meaning that we do have projected surpluses or balanced budgets for the next 5 fiscal years, barring any crazy economic activity. When we go into stress testing, again, we showed this for the first time last year. So again, this is just a quote from Moody's Analytics that says preparing for recessions is an equally inescapable concept with potentially devastating consequences for those who treat it as an afterthought. Again, just be mindful. So that's what we're doing here. So the Great Recession, as the city manager mentioned, was about a decade ago. Recessions, again, we don't control them. They're a normal part of the business cycle. They usually happen every 7 to 10 years, so we are long overdue for one. Our stress test it's simply a model to look at the probability or the assumptions of changing revenue streams. We modeled 2 scenarios, a moderate recession and a severe recession. Under the moderate recession, we're looking at about a 1% change in revenue over a 2-year period, starting in 21-22. And our severe is about a 3% decline in revenue for 3 fiscal years, starting in 21-22. All other assumptions for expenditures remain the same. So when we look at what that looks like, this is our baseline forecast. However, when I drop in the moderate recession, you'll see that in the first year, 21-22, we lose about $60 million to the bottom line. So we'd be definitely looking at a deficit under that scenario. So again, why am I showing you this? Again, use that $28 million wisely, right? We want to make sure that we put it in areas, and we probably don't want to spend all of it at every dime we have, just to kind of be mindful of that. When we look at the severe recession, again, that just magnifies. It gets even worse, and you can see that it lasts longer because it's a three-year window on that one. So again, this is just to illustrate for you the importance of making sound decisions and to provide you with additional information as we move forward in our budget process. But not to end on a sour note, we do have a $28 million surplus, so that should be celebrated. We do not have a deficit. And again, I do want to mention, though, that $19.5 million of that surplus is what we carried over from the end of fiscal year 18-19, if you recall that. So again, about $10 million on top of that number. And we are awaiting holiday sales tax, but again, based on what I saw in the 6-month report, about 14% growth in the state and about 8% for city. I'm not going to budget that, but I just wanted to kind of keep that in everyone's in their front view. So that is the end of my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Jeff. Any council member comments or questions? Wonderful. We appreciate your presentation and look forward to continued conversation about our City of Phoenix budget. We next move to our international strategy, and we'll welcome our Economic Development Director, Christine Mackey, here. Before she begins our presentation, I want to thank the very distinguished group who has joined us here today as we discuss our international strategy. We are so lucky to have wonderful partners, many of whom who have dedicated their lives to this work. The Consular Corps is here with us today with excellent representatives, and I would like to ask our consuls, both honorary, past, present, and future, to stand so that we can applaud you and thank you for your partnership. Thank you for making sure we are a globally connected city. We are also joined by really a who's who of international development here today. We have the Greater Phoenix Economic Council, the Arizona Commerce Authority, the Phoenix Committee on Foreign Relations, Maricopa Association of Governments, Arizona-Mexico Commission, the Global Chamber, the Phoenix Chamber, counting double, the Canada-Arizona Business Council, Arizona State University, the several representatives of the Mexican Consul General's Office, the Pacific Rim Advisory Council, many of our distinguished leaders of our Sister City Commission, our City International Development staff, and many others. I apologize if I forgot anyone, but at least that gives you a sense of the real prestige and great partnerships that we have. So we know we are not going alone, and we are lucky to have all of you as partners. We as a city council want to be a more globally connected city, and we want to have a metrics-driven strategy to achieve that. I will turn it over to our city leadership to introduce this important item.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. As you said, joining me at the table today is Chris Mackey, our Community and Economic Development Director, who will present for your consideration and recommendation our international strategy.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of the council. You will recall at your December 10th meeting, you gave staff direction to go back and create an international strategic plan looking at global initiatives and working with multiple partners. We're back here today with staff's recommendation on that global plan. If we look at the long-term global strategy, the city really continues to grow its global initiatives, particularly with Mexico, with Canada, with the UK, and with Asia. And we're looking at working diligently and connecting in those markets. As we look at opportunities for our own businesses here in Phoenix, we are attempting to widen the global market for them, so there are more consumers for their products and more business activity for our existing businesses. I think all of us were really excited and surprised to learn the depth of countries that we do business with here in Metro Phoenix. Currently, there are companies that represent 50 countries, almost 2,600 companies here in this market, representing just over 85,000 jobs. But I think what's more important to note about those 85,000 jobs is those are direct jobs with foreign-owned enterprises. If you look just at Mexico and Canada, there are 228,000 additional jobs that are supported in Arizona with companies that are doing business in those markets. If we look at NAFTA, which was in place for 25 years, we saw a 300% increase in trade just with Mexico during that 25-year period of time. As you know, NAFTA has sunsetted, and the USMCA has taken its place, and we think it has the ability to grow us even more significantly in the coming decade. Just a couple of international fun facts I thought you might enjoy. 92% of Arizona's top 25 export markets saw an increase in 2018 over 2017. So we're seeing those markets truly grow. Arizona exports to Mexico and Canada dropped a little bit in 2018 over 2017, 44% down from 49%. But of course, that was part of the adoption of USMCA and some additional markets that we expanded into. Only 1% of U.S. companies export, but here's a fact that really surprised all of us. 97% of those companies are small to medium enterprises. We always think of those as big companies, they're doing big business, but 97% of those companies account for 25% of the exports in our market. And 58% of those companies export to a single market. If we look at global e-commerce, Budget Director Jeff Barton does not like it when I call this to his attention, but global e-commerce continues to grow, and it's projected to be nearly $4 billion in 2020. That does give our companies an ability to export their product through that means as well. As we talked about, USMCA was authorized in 2020. And the EXIM Bank was reauthorized for 7 years. That's the first time in 85 years the EXIM Bank has been authorized for that extended period of a time. And for our listeners that are watching the City Council meeting, the EXIM Bank is a bank that loans to companies who are exporting their goods overseas. So I have a bill of lading, and I'm going to make this up. I'm going to send 100 of my products to Asia. I send that 100 products, it goes on a boat, it's on the open seas for 6 weeks while it makes it through the ports, while it makes it into the markets. It gets into that market, the companies, once they distribute it, they pay their bill, now the money comes back to me. Most small businesses can't afford to have that type of revenue, that type of money and capital open for such a long period of time. So the EXIM Bank loans against those invoices. So small companies, medium and large companies can make those exports, they can do business in those markets. The EXIM Bank loans against those invoices so the companies can keep growing and they can keep producing. When they get the invoice back, they pay the EXIM Bank back. Our U.S. market has, we all talk about USMCA, there are 20 other free trade agreements and a number of them with markets that we're seeing a lot of growth in today. If we look at international business development, our top 5 export commodities, I think we're all excited to see, are in technology-related sectors. Aircraft and aircraft parts are over $3 billion. Electronic products are over $3 billion. Mining is a large entity as well. Electrical equipment is $1.9 billion, and machinery is nearly $1 billion. Our top 5 export markets are, no surprise to us, Mexico, Canada, China, the United Kingdom, and Japan. We continue to see our export activity rise. The most recent numbers we have is for 2017, where we see a 20% increase, with it growing from $12.7 billion in 2013 to $14.4 billion in 2017. We continue to see growing international two-way trade. Now we're not just talking about exports, now we're talking about both imports and exports into our market. Mexico is up 7.7%, China is up 11%, and Canada is up 2.4%. No surprise to any of us, Mexico is our largest export trading partner for most of the states that exist in the Southwest. If we look at our legacy investment sectors that make investments into the U.S., we see those in advanced manufacturing, professional services, life sciences, and communication, and other markets. Those tend to come from the Netherlands, France, Switzerland, Canada, Mexico, Germany, and other markets. If we look at new industry sectors, so as the old adage goes, skate to where the puck's going to go, in those new industry sectors and looking at transformation of economies from physical to digital, we see smart mobility, we see smart cities, cybersecurity and blockchain, human augmentation, sustainability, new pharma, and space. And those are coming from other countries, Singapore, Israel, again the Netherlands, France, Switzerland, and other markets. If we look at foreign direct investments into markets that are very similar to ours, and you'll see we've kind of cataloged those that are kind of Texas to the west for us. If we look at a U.S. average, 5.5% of all companies in any U.S. market are foreign-owned establishments. They're foreign-owned businesses. And you can see other markets, San Jose, particularly strong because of electronics and technology. You see Houston is a strong market. It's gas and oil. But you see Phoenix here at 4%, which isn't bad. We're doing very well. But we do have some room for growth to compete with our other West Coast markets. If we look at our international opportunities, our strengths are in Canada, in Mexico, in China, in Taiwan, in the UK, and in South Korea. And we see about 40% of our foreign-owned companies are operating out of major companies that come out of those countries. The things that have come out of our activities focusing on driving a strong international economy are international flights. We have seen London in 2019. American did a nonstop flight into London. I had the privilege of being on that flight with Councilwoman Williams. I think we met with 4 companies before we even left the Heathrow Airport on that delegation, I'm pretty certain. We had a number of business delegations and a number of meetings, and a number of people in this room were with us on that business flight. Hermosillo added another direct flight in 2019, and it was a bit funny. People kept saying we were never going to get another direct flight to Hermosillo. We didn't need one, and it just popped out of the blue that, oh my gosh, we really did need one. Condor has a direct flight now to Frankfurt. They've gone from 2 flights a week at 4 months out of the year. They've already upgraded to 3 flights a week for 6 months out of the year. They're seeing such strong activity. And then we have the inaugural flight to Frankfurt of Lufthansa Eurowings on April 29th, and I'll have the privilege of going with a number of you on that trade delegation to meet with some new companies in Germany. We've also seen the Thunderbird School of Global Management expand into downtown Phoenix, a $60 million investment in a project that's under construction, and this is an internationally recognized school. I'm proud to say that the City Council partnered and made a $12 million investment. They believed so much in bringing this internationally recognized school into downtown Phoenix. They authorized an intergovernmental agreement with Arizona State University to drive that economy into downtown Phoenix. We focus on both the circular economy and sustainability in our C40 cities, in our Ellen MacArthur Foundation, but Smart Cities. Smart Cities is making huge inroads in ways that international communities are partnering together. So where do we go from here? As this council has worked diligently and is shown by Mr. Barton's budget, you have worked diligently to create a sustainable and resilient and robust economy. And to keep that moving forward, we need to continue to explore expanding into international markets and driving foreign investment, not only with imports and exports, but with companies selecting to grow here in Phoenix. So staff would propose the following metrics to be accomplished by 2030, which is a 10-year horizon. First, as we talked about, we are heavily embedded in legacy sectors, in advanced industries, in professional services, in communications. We'd like to work towards making that still the lion's share of our international companies at 70%, but focusing diligently on that digital economy, shifting from the consumption-based physical economy to the digital economy, and driving to, by 2030 to having 30% of our new industry sectors in that digital economy. It's always great when we have mergers and acquisitions and foreign companies purchase our companies or our companies purchase foreign companies, but we need a much more stable platform to attract foreign investment. We need to work diligently with our existing, those companies we showed at the beginning that are creating the 85,000 jobs, and help work with them to ensure they grow here in this market, but to also help leverage their supply network to select Phoenix, to look at U.S. presence, and then working diligently to look globally at net new companies coming into this market. We also think that we should work to leverage our strategic partners. We have incredible partners in international activities here in Arizona, and working diligently with them will drive us to exactly where we need to be. Of course, Mayor, you mentioned them at the beginning. The Greater Phoenix Economic Council, a tremendous partner of ours, the Arizona Commerce Authority, our own consular corps, the U.S. Trade offices, all of our individual consular corps that are here today, our own Phoenix sister cities in 10 different markets who have their finger on the pulse of exactly what's happening in our 10 sister cities, continuing to attend Select USA here in Washington, D.C. to make easy connections to those companies. And it goes without saying the rock star universities and community colleges that we have here in the state of Arizona, who already have a very deep market in a number of the international markets that we're looking to move into, whether it's in research and development, whether it's in educational opportunities, or whether it's in key partnerships they've made with science in moving together and leveraging those universities to give us, pardon the expression, but street cred as we move into those markets, but also introductions into those markets on the scale that we're looking for. As we look at driving our metrics, we believe at 4% of our companies being foreign-owned establishments with a 10-year horizon and a 10-year plan, we believe we can actually exceed the U.S. average of 5.5%. You know us, we're go big or go home, and we think we can drive that to 6% of foreign-owned establishments. We'd like to drive exports in our Canada and Mexico up to 60% from that 49% that you saw. We have 1% of our companies participating, our small to medium enterprises participating in exports today. We'd like to work through programs we're going to introduce you to in a moment to drive that to 5%. Give these small companies a true chance to export their products, whether through e-commerce or other means. It was interesting to us, as Hank Marshall, who's my partner in crime in international in economic development, and I were looking at this, the number of companies that are fined for non-compliance of export laws, or actually see jail time for non-compliance of export laws. And it doesn't, by reading the information, it does not at all appear that most of them were with malice of forethought. It was ignorance of not knowing what they were supposed to do. So we'd like to create an export compliance competence program for companies to go through so they understand how to do bills of lading, they understand how to export their products, they understand how to do business with foreign companies. And also for our workforce, now we're leading into a career path. And that career path is in export compliance, is in helping these companies get to export certifications. To enable that activity, we would ask for 2 dedicated economic development team members. The first would be on business retention and expansion, and that's really to connect with our existing companies to help them grow in this market, to leverage those existing companies to bring new companies, to bring their supply chain network, to bring their vendors, to bring others into this market, and to really share the message that we want out about Phoenix in their global markets. The other is on business attraction, to identify new companies to bring in this market, working with those partners, working with GPAC and the Commerce Authority and Phoenix Sister Cities and others to come into this market. We would suggest that we create with our university partners or our co-working spaces soft landing space. And what I mean by that is foreign-owned companies have trouble entering into markets. They can't sign leases. They have trouble getting bank accounts. They have trouble knowing where they should do business and hiring a workforce and getting an EIN number. And if we can create soft landing space where we have compliance individuals who are there, we have companies, we have universities, we have law firms that are there moving forward, we can help them. Deployment of innovation hubs in partnership with our universities as they're already moving forward. Development of an export incubator and accelerator program, and a continuation of inbound, outbound programs with our business community. Creation of a signature FDI event, foreign direct investment event here in Phoenix to bring those thought leaders into Phoenix. Working with our sister cities, they are working to create a trilateral trade workshop, but another interesting piece they have, they're setting up Skype calls with their other counterparts in foreign markets to create activity. Continuing focus on our global smart cities initiatives, and then to enhance awareness of our market by attracting key leaders into here. And probably one that's near and dear to all of our hearts because of the activity we've seen in healthcare and biosciences is expanding and working with our key leaders in medicine, with our hospitals and with others in destination medicine. As we talked about, partnerships with our state universities on delegation and target markets, data to target international companies, and creation of new marketing materials. We would maintain our offices in both Mexico City and Hermosillo, and then continue targeted business-to-business trade delegations to Mexico and Canada semi-annually. So Mayor, members of the council, what we would recommend is that you authorize us to implement a long-term international strategy, including our 2 positions and the staffing and financial resources to support that, and also allow us the opportunity to leverage contracts with the partners that we discussed in our presentations. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions you might have.
Thank you. Thank you for that excellent presentation. You've set out some ambitious metrics, but I think that will focus us in a good direction. This, to me, is a strategy that encompasses our business community from small to large and really gives us the resources to leverage the amazing work that is already happening in this community so we can support all of the great partners who are already investing in a more global Phoenix. We have great momentum. It is a great time for our city, and thank you for helping us take it to the next level. I will turn to council members for comments and a motion.
Mayor?
Councilman DeCiccio.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple things. One, Chris, that was an amazing presentation, very well done, and a very good perspective of what's happening on the global market. One of the things that we ought to think about as we're doing targeting, I know you mentioned China is one of our targets that we ought to be looking at, and I don't disagree with you 100% on that, but if you really look at what's happening there with the Trump trade agreements that were negotiated last year, and then you look at all the issues that are happening in that country, especially the fact that it is a centralized communist level type of government, that even the businesses are now starting to create an exodus over there. There's a lot of manufacturing leaving, and where are they going? A lot of them are going closer to their market, and closer to their markets would be a place like Mexico. And I think you and I have had this conversation before. I think if we're going to be focused on any country right now, it needs to be Mexico. I mean, it's in our best interest as a country to be able to find ways to get these businesses in Mexico and into our country as well. But if they're not going to come here, then that would be the next likely choice for them to go to. The fact of the matter is even the wage market in China is higher than Mexico. Mexico's, I think, wage market, I think, is $2.90, something like that, per hour. For our standards, it's low, but for some places there, it's it fits in line with it. So, I mean, if you were to look at a market, I would say the emphasis, we only have limited resources. I like the idea of going to as many places as possible, but I really think our friend and our ally, who's always been there with us as an ally, regardless of the politics of it, is our market to the south and our the people to the south of us. For that, I'm just a couple of quick things too, and I'll be very fast on this. This whole thing about the Ex-Im Bank having the loan agreement, I'm not a huge fan, and I'll tell you why. It doesn't really focus on the small businesses that we've talked about before. a lot of their work, a lot of their monies, it just becomes nothing more than corporate welfare, where it's funding these large corporations. So do they help some small businesses? Yes. But the primary function and the primary dollars go to these large corporations that really don't need it. And then finally, on our end, I really think, and a lot of the big companies, great to work with them, great to find ways to expand their trade, but the smaller companies that don't see these markets because they don't know anything about it are really the ones that we ought to focus on. So whether those are small companies in Mexico, again, I'm focused on Mexico as a trade partner, or it's a small company in Arizona that can expand their business by going south of the border, I really think that we really ought to find a way to do an outreach to these small companies, like a real plan, not just sending out flyers, not just setting things up like that, but to actually create a program, not a program, but to create ways for these individuals to have true access to those markets. And a lot of small businesses, and I'm talking medium-sized businesses with 100 employees or more, they'd love to be able to expand, but they're just not there. They don't have the expertise. They don't have the legal end of it. That's what we ought to be looking at as the city of Phoenix. So from my end, I love the global perspective, but our trade partner to the south has been an amazing partner for us as a country and as a state. And I think that anything we can do to foster that relationship is really a big focus. So in closing, I guess we ought to be looking at things proportionately. How much time do we want to spend toward Mexico? How much time do we want to spend toward China? How much time do we want to spend toward Canada? And then focus those resources that way. And that's all I've got to say. So I'm going to be supportive of this, whoever puts the motion out there. But just at least give you some perspective from my end. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. And I should have announced both Councilman DeCiccio and the Vice Mayor are appearing telephonically. Councilman Nowakowski.
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to thank Chris for thinking outside the box. One of the things that we've been working with, I've personally been working with Mexico and our trade between Phoenix and Mexico City and Hermosillo for the last 12 years. And one of the things that we've seen is how successful it is. When we go as a group, as a team, when we have the different chambers, the university, and even our city staff like Juan Batrias, that basically understands the culture, understands their needs. And what you've done here is the concerns that they have is when they come into a foreign country, the loaning process is different, and that's the big hiccup that they have at the beginning, and also just to lease a space for a short period of time. And that's one of the biggest concerns we kept on hearing, our trade between Mexico and the United States and Phoenix. So I like that portion of it, and I like the whole global. If it works, our partnership between Mexico and Phoenix works, then it should work globally also. We have some great representatives that represent our sister cities, my colleagues here that already have the doors open with the politicians out there, the businesses, and the nonprofit organizations. And who better to open those doors than ourselves, that we love the city and we're the best ambassadors for it. So I just want to thank you once again for thinking outside the box. And I know a lot of people are telling me, why did I actually want to go this direction? I believe that we had a jewel in Mexico, and I think we need to spread it out through all of our sister cities. So how do we team it as a Team Phoenix approach, having our sister cities, economic development, and the private sector come in and bring some revenues to the city of Phoenix and businesses. So thank you once again. And with that, I can make a motion for staff's recommendation.
We have a motion and a second from Councilwoman Williams. Councilwoman Williams.
Thank you. Last year when we went to Hermosillo and you did the workshop and you had expected 75 people and you had over 300 show up on how to do business in Phoenix, I truly believe that shows the interest is there. It's a matter of educating them and helping them come and to know what steps to go through to get established. I also serve on the Gateway, Phoenix Mesa Gateway Board, and one of the things we have established out there is customs. You could get materials going into Mexico cleared there, and then they get almost immediate delivery once they get to Mexico. And I don't know if you've used that before. It's really just come into existence in the last few months, but I think that should also give us a step up, because that expedites getting a product and getting your money and really makes the flow happen. And I think we should use that to our advantage. I agree with the others that have spoken. I think Mexico as a natural should still be a priority, but I don't want you to miss out on other opportunities around the world, because Phoenix is becoming more and more known all the time. So thank you for what you've suggested. I think it's a great idea. I'm highly supportive.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Councilman DeCiccio.
Yeah, just one final comment, too, and I really think there needs to be some credit here. I know that there are members of the business community in the audience. The fact that we opened up the Trade Commission, I was there in the room when Michael Nowakowski insisted on us doing that. He never gets the credit for what he did and what he started several years ago. And Michael knows. We had met with Greg Stanton at the time. There was nothing happening at the City of Phoenix. No focus, no direction at all until Michael did that. And for the business community that's here today, too, and for those that are listening in, the reason we are here today and not under an old model is because of the direction of him. So we need to be very cognizant of who really helped get this thing started. We need to make sure we're on the record on that. And I know Michael is too proud to say anything about himself about this, but we would not be here today for everybody that's listening on this if it wasn't for Michael on this, because this guy started it. I was in the room when he insisted on it happening. He made it happen, and that's why we're here today, because this thing would never have been created if it wasn't for that meeting. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any final comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Thank you for your hard work on this. Thank you to our partners for making this day possible. With that, we are adjourned.